Welcome back. We covered the definition of game theory and some key elements of what makes a game theory context in chapter 1.1. We'll now cover some key fundamentals in this chapter, chapter 1.2. But first, a quick recap. Right, let's get going. One of the key fundamentals of game theory is the dominant strategy. The dominant strategy in game theory is a situation where one player has superior tactics regardless of the other players. The superiority of this player's strategy is evident at the outcome stage. In a dominant strategy situation, the player who holds the dominant strategy enjoys an upper hand in the game against all the other opposing players. A key factor of the dominant strategy situation is that the player who holds the upper hand does so, all things remaining equal. That is, all factors remaining constant. Another key factor of the dominant strategy is that, in this situation, the dominant player will always dictate the outcome. Okay, so let's consider a case study. So let's say you run a patient advocacy platform where disenfranchised patients and their loved ones come to get advice on how to handle a situation where they are being mistreated by healthcare providers, specialists, surgeons, hospitals, oncologists, nurses, and so on, for whatever reason. These patients may be needing help during the process of getting treatment for whatever ails them, or they may be seeking reparations for negligence and so on, perhaps seeking to pursue a malpractice case. So you employ a bunch of case workers who comb through complaints and identify cases that could have the most impact in improving patient care if they are litigated. The platform takes in complaints from patients via a number of inputs, including a website, a chatbot, SMS, WhatsApp, and email. The platform then compiles a list of litigible cases and possible class action cases and then sends them to lawyers registered on the platform who might be interested in litigating pro bono on the basis of a settlement or judgment order split. The platform also sends the list of complaints to a list of medical litigation venture capitalists or investors who might be interested in funding litigation where a pro bono deal might be struck, and the odds are so good that the opportunity is too good to pass up, and funded litigation is the best route. You fund the platform by charging lawyers a subscription fee to the platform with various tiers, the lowest tier being for exposure to patient cases where they could offer to take up a case or structure a class action on their own, or offering partnerships with other firms, and a higher tier where they get first preference in being considered for investor funded cases. Your platform runs on a bunch of AI APIs. The first AI API assesses raw case information and runs a negligence test based on the given country or region's laws. The second API takes in the case information that has passed the negligence test and arranges these cases according to categories and possible class action groupings. The third API uses the case information to scan through adjudicated public case records to find similar cases and assesses precedence and the level of legal validity of the case. It also scans for any public information about the health practitioner or institution in question based on their digital footprint to assess their propensity to have exhibited the same behavior in the past, and then uses all this information to assign a win probability score if the case goes to court, assesses the probability of settlement, as well as predicting the figure likely to be achieved in the case of either a settlement or a court award. Okay, so let's recap the case study. So you run a patient advocacy platform that gives patients and their loved ones a voice by primarily making it easier for them to pursue malpractice litigation in the case of private medical practitioner or institution negligence. You do this because you've lost a loved one largely due to negligence. You lost time with someone that mattered to you because for some reason a health practitioner or a group of health practitioners and their associated institutions where your loved one was treated decided your loved one was not worth the duty of care required as prescribed by their oath, and you helplessly advocated for them only to be met with conspired action that led to your loved one's death. You could glean from the brazenness of these individuals and entities that they've likely done this to a great number of people before, and you decided to take action and do something about it. So, a number of stakeholders use your platform. The platform primarily serves the public who need help to deal with negligent private healthcare providers. These patients and their loved ones enter their complaints on your platform via a variety of avenues, including email and social media. You may have an AI character that can call via WhatsApp that asks them a series of questions and adjusts the conversation based on the complaint's state of mind, emotional state, and communication style, and spits out a standardized complaint template output. This service is free to the complainants so as to make it fully accessible. The next set of stakeholders are the litigation lawyers. They subscribe to your platform in order to get notified of new possibly litigible cases. You have a series of subscription packages wherein the lowest package allows them to just view cases, another package that allows them to contact complainants, and perhaps the highest package that allows them to bid for funded class action cases. The next set of stakeholders are the venture capitalists or case investors. You typically lobby these guys to register on the platform and send them updates and newsletters, as well as shop cases to them for funding. You mainly target activist investors who have skin in the game in as far as the industry you're targeting is concerned. We've modeled this case on the health sector, but you can just as easily apply the same concept to financial services, helping helpless consumers who are being strangled by dubious credit agreements, for example, or even the car dealer industry, facilitating litigation services for consumers who were dubiously sold faulty cars, for example. If you like, you can also offer subscriptions for interested parties such as politicians and journalists who may be interested in information on your platform, depending on whether complainants who are the subjects of that information consent to you sharing their information or not. The ultimate aim is to make negligent or even murderous health providers accountable by any legal means possible. Okay. Lastly, your platform runs a bunch of APIs, some of them simple algorithms, some of them trained AI models to perform a set of tasks. That is, a list of APIs that are task performers, and you have to pay for each time you use them. So you clean houses for a living, let's say. Think of a vacuum cleaner as an API that you call, that is, use, every time there's vacuuming required. Think of a mop as another API that you call, that is, use, every time there's mopping required. The duster, the toilet brush, and so on. You pay a fee every time you call each of these APIs, so you don't use the vacuum cleaner unless it's absolutely necessary, for example. If you'd like to learn more about how APIs practically work in real life and business, visit our free API Marketplaces course on YouTube. So your platform focuses on negligence cases. So your first point of call is to assess the case to see if actual negligence might have taken place based on the information provided. If the case doesn't pass the negligence test, you might have another AI model get back to the complainant with other possible avenues to pursue. Because just because negligence is not obvious, it doesn't mean that there hasn't been any wrongdoing that took place. Other APIs include calculating the win probability of the case, assessing the case's potential to become a class action, structuring a deal with the complainant, lawyers, and case funders where applicable, assessing the potential level of public interest in the case, and notifying subscribed interested parties and stakeholders, particularly with cases that are not eligible for litigation but there's a clear wrongdoing prevalent. You might even run generative AI models that prepare court documents and existing case law and other appropriate documents in order to make it easier for invested parties to start or progress with litigation. You can even run case monitoring AI models or APIs that can pick up if a given law firm is potentially in cahoots with the given respondent and is actually acting against the interests of their clients, and quietly flag them to investors on the platform so as to make it difficult for them to secure big funded cases.